So today's story is about the crippled fox and the generous lion. But before I head into the story, Namo Dash, my name is Garret. My mission as a life coach and a law of attraction coach is to help people realize their infinite potential by tapping into spirituality, the law of attraction, and Fengshui. I'm very blessed to be trained under a Himalayan yogi who's taught me the ways of the yogic teachings as well as spirituality, which is the whole umbrella of life. Before I begin my story, please make sure that you guys remember to hit like, subscribe, and comment your learnings in the comment section below. And it's also always nice to know where you guys are tuning in from, because I'm dedicated to make 4 videos a week to spread more light and positivity to the world. Okay? So without further ado, let's go into the story. So there was this man, he decided to fulfill his spiritual thirst one fine day. Okay? So he was like, I should be spiritual. So he decided to look for a forest. Okay, in these days it's hard to find forests really because we are living in such a modern city. Okay, in the modern world. Okay, so he's left his city and went in search of a forest nearby. Okay, and he managed to find one forest that has a large rock under a tree. Okay, so he decided to be spiritual just like all the ascended masters that attain enlightenment in that manner. So he sat on top of the rock and he started to chant Om. Okay? So in these modern times, chanting Om for a certain period of time, the body also has its own response to the Om. Okay? The stomach started to growl Om as well as he chanted for a certain period of time. Okay? So he kept chanting Om until his stomach started to growl. So when his stomach started to growl, he stand up and he actually left the rock and went back to the city to look for food. Okay? So each time his stomach growled, he will leave the rock and go back to the city and look for food. Then he will resume again. After he come back from eating, he will come back to the rock and he will continue his chanting of Om. Okay? So when he did this for consecutively 3 days continuously. Okay? So there was one day he continued chanting his Om, and suddenly he chanced upon a fox, and this fox was unusual because he doesn't have 4 legs and he's crippled already. But the funny thing was that he was able to survive in the forest. So a forest that is survival of the fittest. So why is this crippled fox that doesn't have 4 legs still be able to survive? He was in this question. Okay, and it was weird. So he's asking himself, is this considered some kind of joke? So he was thinking. So suddenly he continued to observe this fox, and the fox was just around that area and would seems to be searching for food or something. Okay. Then suddenly he heard a growl of a lion. So this man chanting his Om suddenly stopped and was afraid. So he immediately climbed the tree and clambered up the tree. Okay, he clambered up the tree so high and he was observing the fox and also searching for the growl. Where is the growl coming in from? Okay, so he started and he noticed there was this lion that was biting onto a large piece of meat. Okay, it was a meat of some form of animal, and that lion actually dropped that piece of meat in the front of the crippled fox. So he dropped, after the lion dropped that piece of meat, and the lion just left. So the man was so surprised and he was so shocked to see the lion just left that piece of meat in front of the crippled fox, and the crippled fox just started to tuck in on the food and just started to eat the food, you see. So this man was impressed and he was like, wow, is this some form of divine message that God is trying to tell me? He assumed, okay, immediately straight away he assumed that the divine message was that God wanted him to continue chanting his Om on that piece of rock whenever he feels hungry. Because why? Even a crippled fox is able to get food and being fed in this forest by a generous lion. So what else me as a human being, so holy, chanting my Om in the forest? So he came to a conclusion that, okay, I should take this as a divine message and I should continue chanting my Om even though I felt hungry and not leave for the city. So he continued doing it for the next 3 days, and his body started to get very hungry. Okay, and on the 5th day he was barely able to survive. He was in a very weakened state. Okay, and he continued even on until 7 days. And on 7th day he was gasping for dear life. Okay, and he was shouting because he was not even shouting loud enough because he got no strength. He's in a very weak state and he's gasping for dear life. So he was lucky he chanced upon a yogi that was passing the forest. So this yogi, he passed by him and he's heard him gasping for dear life. So he went to this man. He said, "What happened to you?" And the man started to tell the yogi the entire story. So he asked the yogi, "Yogi, can you please explain? Is this considered a divine message?" So the yogi told him, "Yes, this is a divine message. However, why did you choose to be the crippled fox instead of being the generous lion in this forest?" So you see, in our life, how often do we want to actually take control of our life instead of just relying on pure volition? You see, know this, every time we learn how to take control of our emotions, learn how to take control of our life, it means that we are no longer bothered by fate or destiny. You see, we always think that everything happens to us because of our fate and destiny. Hence, we should just continue living the life that we should be living at this current point. You see, we are constantly in pursuit of our desires, our luxuries, and we assume that this is the type of life that we want, just fulfilling the desires and the physical. Okay, and how often are you willing to see that you are not the one being crippled down by fate, whereas you are able to take control of your life? You can determine your own destiny and you can co-create with God. Be the generous lion. When you fulfill your destination of earning money, earning all the luxuries in this physical, that's where you learn to give and be like the generous lion. Okay? So with that, I hope you learned something from this story, and if you do, please make sure you comment your learnings in the comment section. Okay? And it's always nice to know where you guys are tuning in from. Okay? So remember to comment it in the comment section as well. So with that, I end off my video. Namo Dash.